There are several beautiful beaches in Gdansk. For many in Poland, it's considered a dream place to live. The protective sand dunes offer the promise of a quiet life. A quiet and safe life is what this gated community is supposed to guarantee. Strangers have no hope of entering here uninvited. Residents have to come and meet them in person. WOJCIECH SULECINSKI bought his apartment 3 years ago. As a successful journalist, he's typical of Poland's wealthier middle class. He made a conscious decision to move into a gated community.
I certainly have an elitist lifestyle. I don't have to meet anyone here that I don't want to meet, like people handing out advertising, or homeless people, or anyone who could pose a threat to me, or just not fit in here. That's a kind of luxury for me.
Safe, clean, and a good investment. That's how many in Poland see gated communities. So, not surprisingly, they're becoming increasingly popular, especially among successful professionals. Neptune Park is another community just a stone's throw away. We meet with architect PIOTR LORENS in the hope of looking round the place, which covers several hectares. But we're unable to get past the locked entrance. The architect is not impressed. He takes quite a critical view of Poland's trend towards gated communities.
People who buy an apartment here are not just driven by security interests. They're sending a signal that people who don't live here are inferior, that their children are inferior. This is a division within society that could lead to tensions and conflict in the future. Conflicts have already occurred. The Three Sails is another gated community. Residents here seem not particularly interested in keeping the peace with their neighbors. Those inside the gates wanted to have the entire complex to themselves, from the chemist to the supermarket. The manager of the supermarket says it's like an island in the middle of the city.
The few customers that come from the neighboring estate are constantly complaining about the fence. They can't get direct access to the hospital or the bus stop anymore. It's the same with the beach. They have to make a huge detour. There are constant complaints.
Angry neighbors eventually decided to remove part of the fence themselves. The security firm responsible for the complex immediately came and closed the gap. But in the night, the hole reappeared. The dispute has been rumbling on for months.
People who are very ill need direct access to the hospital. But despite our protests, they've fenced off everything. They haven't even left us just a narrow path. It's so inconsiderate. So we had no choice. We had to solve things our own way.
And then she once again hurries across the complex, trespassing on the ghetto of the rich to get to the bus stop. Gated communities are big business in many parts of Poland. There are dozens of complexes in Gdansk and more than 400 in Warsaw. But the development surely comes at a high price. Critics say ostracizing poorer members of society is a disaster waiting to happen.
Even if it is private property, no one has the right to seal themselves off with an electric fence and guard dogs trained to attack people. These communities are still part of the public space, and they are there for everyone, and everyone needs to realize that.
Despite the public criticism, gated communities continue to grow in popularity. And as long as the authorities continue to earn from them, that's unlikely to change.